that, man? Holy cow. What's all that equipment? That's your studio.
Yeah. What else
Wow,
is new?
look at this. Look at this. Oh, wow.
Who that? Who that? Is that your brother?
No, that's my brother's friend. Wow.
He's keep up with. He's a drummer. Right?
He's a drummer, Larry.
Oh.
My brother's a writer. He does everything.
Gospel music?
Oh, you love it. You would love it, man.
I love it.
And the bass player, forget about it.
Oh, yeah? Does he get intimidated by you?
No, I'm intimidated by them.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No, get out of here.
When you hear those bass players, those lines.
I know, dude. And when I hear those drummers, I freak the fuck. I'm intimidated by that.
I'm like, where do they get these ideas?
Yeah.
Did you ever play in a gospel band?
Yeah.
So?
Yeah, I played in a lot of them. But I feel like I'm on the brink of just before these new guys came in. Because these new guys, man, what they're thinking.
Really?
Yeah, it's an whole nother school, man.
They want to show their chops.
Yeah, yes. It's Chop City, man.
You're a choppy guy. You like the chops.
Oh, no.
But they only play for the chops.
Yeah.
But it's good. You dig it.
I love it. I just can't do it.
Do you think George would let you play that way?
No, heck no. Let me just...
Is that your flip phone?
That's my flip phone right here. Hey,
So how did George find you? Or you found George?
1973, the percussion player for Stevie Wonder, I was hanging out with him for a few months, and he called me to come to this audition. And I was working at Macy's back then. And I got home, I was tired. I was living with my parents, and he said, Stanley, come on, man, we're going to this jam session. I said, man, I can't go, I'm tired. And he said, hey, man, you don't want me to come over. I'm going to come up and wake up your whole family. I said, no, please don't do that. He was serious. And I wound up leading the band. I hired and fired 8 drummers. We had 15
You
drummers.
would do that.
We had 15 drummers in 2 years.
If you could do that now, you would do that.
I would. You're right. You're right. So we did this joint in Boston. And the keyboard player, Tuesday was always the day you set up and you did your sound check. So the guy was finished with his sound check. So he came over to our club and I was the only one hanging around. He said, hey, you want to jam? I said, yeah. So we jammed. He took my number. Well, 6 months later, they called me for George. And at that time, I was scared to death because my mother called me. She said, Stanley, this guy, he's doing pretty good. But I wound up going to his house for an audition. And we were doing this tune called Lady. And it has so many changes. And they were playing straight through it. I'm sliding back. I said, hold man, I need a chart because I can't follow you guys. And I usually can follow tune, but this was going all over.
He expected you to follow this without a chart?
Oh, yeah.
And you never heard it before?
Never heard it before. I said, it was an original. I said, listen, you got to give me a chart. And they both started, they started cracking up. I said, what's so funny? He said, man, we don't read. So we did the audition. He said, listen, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, nothing. He said, well, can you go to Hawaii? We went out there the next day, hit the hotel, ran to the place, did the sound check, and played, I think it was 45 minutes. I'm playing all these tunes. I never
played them.
Never played them. I'm going through it with my ear. That was my start. That was July 5th, 1975.
How the fuck do you remember that?
I'll never forget it. And 6 months later, January 5th, we recorded Breezing. And in March, first gig we had was in Kansas City. And when we got off the plane, we saw 3 limousines. 3 limousines for who? I said 1 for George and the 2 for the band. There was only 4 guys in the band.
When you did Breezin', did you have freedom to write the parts you wanted, or was there any kind of pressure?
The pressure I put on myself. I'm scared to death. In the 6 months that I'm with the George, I'm complaining about every drum. Well,
But what place were you in to complain about the drummer? You just started.
Yeah, but I was complaining.
And he took it? He was into it?
I was complaining, and George, in the 6 months, we had something like 6 to 8 drummers. George got so tired of me complaining. We were at a dinner for the band. He said, man, you complain about everybody. Why don't you quit? and the other guy said, no, George, that ain't right, you know. So we eventually went in the studio, and there's Harvey Mason, Ronnie Foster, Jorge Dalto. And the producer was Tommy LaPuma. So now I'm scared to death. Everybody's cool, but I'm scared to death. We did 6 tunes.
Yeah.
4 of them, at least 3 of them were first takes. I'm sitting there saying, this Masquerade, what the hell is that? So they said, okay, let's start this off. And I raised my hand and everybody said, oh, Stanley, what is it? I said, man, I don't know this. Oh, man. Jorge Dalto wrote it out in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, Charlie's in front of me.
And you read it.
We do it one time, and I made a mistake on it.
Mistakes sound good, though. Loud mistakes are different.
Yeah, this is a loud one. And boy, they really covered it up in the recording, but you could hear it. They run in the recording thing, and I'm still sitting in my chair like, oh, man. Now, I see them through the glass. They're partying. Yeah, blah, blah. I said, you know what, man? Let me go in and tell them. I go in. They're sitting around talking. And I said, hey, George, I made a mistake. You know, George's career with all those other record companies, they didn't want him to sing. He says, man, don't worry about that, man. They ain't going to play this anyway. But Harvey was the first drummer that we had. I mean, we had some good drummers now. We had Dennis Davis. We had Jimmy Madison.
How did they got Harvey in the studio? Because he was just a session guy, right?
He was a session guy, and that was Tommy LaPuma's go-to drummer.
Okay.
It's like Ralph McDonald was his go-to percussion player.
And then you convinced him to go on the road with you.
No, he volunteered.
After Breezin' was the next thing, Weekend in LA.
The third one was Weekend in LA. We went to this club, hot club in LA, the Roxy. And everybody and their mother is looking at us on stage. Chaka Khan, she got on the table. And Aretha Franklin, Glenn Turman. We did 6 live shows, Minnie Riperton. We saw more celebrities. There were more celebrities in this club that I'd ever seen in my life. They took different things out of different shows, you know. That's when you got to find out how much of a timekeeper Ralph McDonald was. And we're setting up to play these 6 shows. I put my tambourine down. And he says, what is that? I said, that's my tambourine. I played it. He said, get that. And you've never seen the tambourine disappear so fast.
You're kidding me.
That was a compliment. That was a compliment to me.
That was a compliment?
Yeah. Well,
Did he ever make a mistake?
You know, I was told by the best to get that tambourine out of here.
Yeah? So how come it didn't stay out of there?
You know what? You bring up a point. That's a big point you're making. That's the first and only show I never played tambourine. Not on Broadway. No. And I don't think there's I've never seen a recording of that. I don't think they had a recording. It was 6 wild nights, man. 6 wild nights.
So Weekend LA got my dad fired from a job. Do you know this story?
No.
Yeah, my dad had a job with Engelbert Humperdinck. And
really?
He was on the bus, and Weekend in LA just came out. He's listening to it on the bus. Engelbert comes in, said, what the fuck are you listening to? And he's raving about this record.
Right.
And Engelbert fired him on the spot.
Really?
Yeah, you never heard this story?
No. Wow. I played with Aretha Franklin one time, man. And, there's no words for that voice. We had a gig. George did a duet with her.
Right.
Somewhere on the line. And we were working big theater in LA. And she came to the sound check. I could see her walking right in now. She said, okay, George, let's get this over with. And she's smoking. And as soon as she opened up her mouth, my monitor I thought my monitor was jumping up and down. Because man, that the vibes that I was feeling, I felt like I was being electrocuted. Her voice went through me like unbelievable. And the same for that night. They sang one song, and it was ridiculous.
You know that feeling you got where you get goosebumps from music?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you still feel that?
Oh, yeah. It's very rare.
Very rare, right?
Very rare. But I get them from time to time.
Like with George.
Yeah. How can I describe it? It's actually better than sex. Sorry, y'all. When the groove is powerful like that, you don't get that often as a musician. Sad to say, a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, but
No,
I know what that feeling is. Huh?
I know what that feeling is too.
Yeah,
I get it once a year, maybe.
You're right. It's not that often because you got to have the right group of guys, and everybody's got to be thinking alike.
It's hard to get that group of guys together in this day and age.
Very.
Do you think the music business has changed so much that affects the way you feel? That you don't get that feeling anymore because the business has changed?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't think the musicians are getting into it like they used to.
I think
they
business
might have lost. They might have lost interest, whatever. I don't even know what's going to come out of this pandemic. But as for me, I'm going to die with this feeling. I love that feeling of being there because actually, this feeling you should have by yourself. You should never need anybody else. If I'm playing with a metronome and I'm playing and I'm right on it, oh man, you should be able to dance with yourself. Every musician should be able to do that. They should be able to practice and feel so good that you say, oh, there it is.
And that's how you told me this one time, that's how you got so familiar with your instrument. That you used to enjoy, like if you got mad, you used to play the bass. Going through a breakup, some chick made you upset, you used to play the bass for hours and hours.
Yeah.
So you told me when we first started playing, when I first came onto the band, that you told me you'll get there. You just gotta get real mad at a chick or something, and just
that brings it out of you. Those are real life experiences. That's why I started moving on stage more. If you see the old George Benson video, I'm not moving.
I know, but
I shocked myself. Is that me?
Yeah, it's not you.
But I
Doesn't look like you at all. You played with George like 45 years?
Yeah. How
did you keep it fresh?
You do that through appreciation. That's the only word I got for that. I appreciate every job that I've had.
Yeah.
But the appreciation of being with a guy like that, and at the same time, this guy is not playing anything twice. His rehearsals, we were so much alike because his rehearsals are like the gig. You know, and it would piss me off sometimes because there's guys in the band that said, oh, we just rehearsed. No, man, we're not just rehearsing. We're playing for our lives, man. The groove is the groove. What is this? We're just rehearsing. What is that about?
And they all had that mentality?
Huh?
And they all had that mentality in his band?
Not all the time. Not all the
time. It's hard to find.
It's hard to find. I can safely say that all the guys that played with George, either they come that way or they got into that. They had to realize, hey man, George this is not a game. He's playing for his life right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, how much in 45 years? How much bullshit? You know, you're playing with one of the greatest, but there's always that bullshit. Like, how do you get through it for 45 years? You know.
Well, that's with George. It's always the first time.
It was him,
and I appreciated that because that's the way I am. If you're gonna play this, man, play it like you mean it.
He plays it like
rehearsing. No, rehearse. What are we talking about?
You're very fortunate. Not only that he's so slamming, but that he can provide you with that feeling.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean,
Because why did we became musicians to feel that?
Yeah. Most of the gigs that I'm on, though, I'm gonna speak up about something. I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna complain about the drummer. I've had arguments with drummers.
You're in a position that you can do that.
Yeah, but I only do it because the music deserves that. The people deserve that. They deserve so much better. I'm only trying to get what you're talking about, that feeling. Because once we get that feeling, the place goes crazy.
I used to come home from gigs with you. I used to be real happy with my night. I used to be like, that was amazing, you know? Now I come home from gigs, I'm just like, what the fuck happened tonight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
well, Eric used to bring me to all the gigs. And we always it was a great night.
What a good night. You know, I smile ear to ear like that was some shit. And now it's the opposite. I don't know if that's just what the business has become or it's just the hand I got dealt.
It's going to get better, man, because of what you're doing right now. Your heart is right in the right place at the right time. And because of you and people like you, we're going to make it better.